on the Chinese spyware for as long as that remains not banned. And let me get the comments up here, see who's here. And good morning to all of you. I'm no DB Productions. Good morning, Sonia. Hard pink waving. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all having an amazing day and an amazing morning and an amazing week. And I hope it's much better than my last couple of days were. Wow, what a mess. What a mess it was. But welcome to the Freedom Coffee live stream, where we celebrate the freedoms that we have. We work on strategies to increase and expand those freedoms in the future. And oh, look at this. Sonia says, Buenos dias, Andrea, on Twitter. So I guess, Sonia, you must have seen that we did the first Spanish Spanish Twitter stream a couple of days ago. And when was it a couple of days ago? I don't even know. It's one big blurry day now again. And I didn't completely crash and burn, despite the numerous grammatic errors that I had promised. They still seem to somewhat understand what I was trying to say and trying to get my point across. So now I have a target to aim for, which is to improve Spanish well enough that you guys don't think I speak like a 5-year-old. So that was one of the things that happened the past couple of days. Well, I was there, but really didn't understand much. Sonny, okay, so there you go. Here's going to be the opportunity to learn Spanish. We'll do it. I'll improve my Spanish. You'll learn the basics, and we'll be able to kind of connect with all these people in Latin America that are going through exactly the same experiences that we're having in Canada politically. I wanted to watch this, but the guy Dichter is... Oh, here we go. Here we go. Cindy is back. Cindy is a repeat, what's it called, voice for one of the sheeple for the Big Con Canada Inc. that is trying to get away from the fact that they sabotaged the convoy and sabotaged a lot of what we did. So, yeah, Cindy, adios, gracias por todo. Okay. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. BJ can teach you French. So I do have a couple other languages I want to learn once my Spanish is acceptable enough. And French is on the list, but a little bit farther down. There's a couple of languages I want to learn first. And French I never really enjoyed. Oh, Cindy's giving us the finger. You know what? Are you giving the finger like Fat Keith and Hurt Locker Tom did? They put this... You know, I should do this. I should find this. They put this thing up where... Hold on, let me find it for you. They put this awesome tweet. It was... I didn't even have a chance. I was so busy. It was my favorite... It was one of my favorite tweets that I've seen on Twitter in a long time, and it was just beautiful. This is, let me see if I can drag this over so all of you can see it. I know I want to create suspense for all of you, but this is the nonsense that they put up. And here, let me just show it to you all here. And there you go. Wait. No, I don't want to install stuff now. What do you... hold on. Okay, so now it's only... You know what? I got to put it in the browser. Do I got to put it in the browser? I don't know. I can't show you now. Whatever. Things are technical. I'll post it somewhere. But it was hysterical. It was my favorite tweet. And it was Dumb and Dumber putting their fingers up at me. And it just kind of like, oh, there you go. Right on. Anyways, those people are... they're pretty irrelevant at this point, so it doesn't really matter what they say. I mean, my suggestion for my stalker, who is one of them, who seems to be obsessed with me, whatever. I mean, I got enough of them at this point already. My suggestion is he be more concerned about, I don't know, diabetes than my stream, and he should really go back to doing video arcade videos, in my opinion. But anyways, that's about all I really care about it. So I came back from this. I got to tell you, this is, when people talk about like trucking and They always talk about how it's difficult. I think it's kind of the scheduling that is difficult. And aside from the constant harassment that I was getting from people online who haven't figured out that it doesn't bother me in the slightest bit. I quite enjoy it. Just because it means we're getting to them, right? That the truth is really starting to bother people. It's really inconvenient that the truth is getting out there. So I went down to New York. And I was in Middletown, New York, for those of you who are in the area know where it is. French is tough to learn. I am French, and I know. Yeah, maybe. Every language has its difficulties and struggles. So I went down to New York, and normally this sort of trip, it's really difficult now because I have so much packed into my life. So every day I have a million things I got to deal with. So I kind of schedule my trips that I'm going to come back between a certain hour. And then, I can pivot back to this stream, some of the other stuff I'm working on, other platforms, because there's a whole bunch of stuff. Speaking of other platforms, there's also the Discord server, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And I'll just turn that on right now. The problem is I always forget to... it's not muted. Okay. If anybody's in Discord, just send me a message if I'm muted or not. I think you can hear me now. So I went down to New York. This was supposed to be one of the quicker trips. Like I would leave on... now, what morning was it now? Now I'm already getting confused which days they were. I think it was Tuesday. I was going to come back Wednesday. And then I had a whole bunch of stuff planned for Thursday. Well, that didn't happen because I go down to New York, and it's one of those warehouses. Those who are in trucking will understand this. They have 150 doors to unload in this warehouse. 150 like docks where you back your truck up, right? Massive place. How many docks do you think they use to unload deliveries? Take a guess. Out of 150, how many docks would they use to unload? Well, if you guessed two, then you'd be right. So my appointment, I know the guy at the front. I'm really nice to him. Sometimes bring him coffee. He's a good dude. So he'll sometimes, when I get a later appointment, like I did, he'll sneak me in and just say, yeah, a couple of the peak guys who have appointments, they're still doing their reset and asleep. So let me just sneak you in quickly so you can do a quick turnaround and go home. Great. He knows. He's bought a copy of my book. He knows who I am and all that sort of stuff. So really nice of him. This time, he was trying to, and then what happened? Another trucker, Bridget's here, she'll understand this. I'm sure she's been through this before. Remember, there's only 2 doors of 150 that they're using to unload. A truck goes in, and there's what's called a clam truck. It's basically like a forklift, but it grabs these big rolls of paper. And the clam truck damaged the trailer it was unloading. So it pulled out a couple of the rails on the top. So what does that mean? Uh-oh, now we got to call the insurance company. Now we got to file paperwork. Now we got to stop doing everything. So now we're down to 1 door. And this was the busiest I've ever seen it. There must have been, 13 trucks lined up on the street trying to get in for delivery. So do you think they would have allocated maybe, another door of the 150? No, of course not. Why would you do that? So anyways, it ended up me normally I would unload like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be on my way to my back haul and then head back. And if I'm lucky, I'd be back into Toronto around dinner time and then have the night to do some work. That didn't happen. I got unloaded at 3 o'clock. And my back haul was in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So I arrive in Allentown, Pennsylvania at 5:30. And what happened in Allentown, Pennsylvania? Oh, they had a delay. And then they had a shift change. And so I was in Allentown, stuck in the dock for another 5 hours, I think it was. So I left Allentown. Instead of leaving there, which normally would have been 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, I left at almost 12 o'clock at night, or just before 12 o'clock, I think. I might be off of my time. Remember, it's one big blurry day. Ended up doing the space from the truck, and towards the end, if you listen to the space, you'll actually be confirmed the time. Maybe I'm off by an hour or two. because in the Spanish Twitter space, I started, that's when they finished unloading, got my customs documents, and got on the road. So, all right, I'm coming back. I'm going to be back in Toronto for 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, maybe I can get in at 4 o'clock. I have an appointment with a surgeon about my ankle, which Rebel News said I just conveniently broke because apparently I intentionally wanted to break my ankle. So I had to meet with this surgeon for an evaluation. And I figured, okay, it's 10 o'clock. I'll arrive in Toronto. I'll be home by 5 o'clock in the morning. Go to sleep for a few hours, wake up, drive to Mississauga, go to the doctor. Well, that didn't happen. Why? Well, we had this amazing storm where it was raining where I was in Pennsylvania, and it was raining all the way up to about Elmer, New York. Sorry, Elmer, whatever it's called, New York. And then it turned to snow on top of the rain that was already there, which is exactly the same road conditions I was in during the Freedom Convoy when my car ended up in a tree. So I might have been a little bit skittish more than some people. So, all right, now we got to drive slower. Now I'm going at, 45 miles an hour as opposed to 65 miles an hour. So I finally get back into Toronto at 6 o'clock. I finally, and by the way, I've barely slept. So I get into the yard at 6 o'clock on my ELD. Bridget, on my ELD for my work day, I took a picture. I had 3 minutes left when I pulled into the yard. For those who don't know what that means, if I ran out of those 3 minutes, no matter where I was, I would have to stop and sleep or just stop operating for 10 hours. Actually, in Canada, it's 8 hours, right? So I'd have to stop for 8 hours. And anyways, whatever it is. Or else I'd be in violation and get a massive fine and all that stuff. So 3 minutes in, I got into the yard, and guess what? A trucking company that I have a contract with for my owner-operator, they don't salt or plow the yard. Guess who got stuck for an hour and a half with everybody else trying to dig me out and whatever. That was my day. Yeah, Bridget, cruise control. Yeah, thanks, Bridget. Bridget was making fun of me in Ottawa. That was the first time we actually had 5 minutes to have a conversation in Ottawa, and she was making fun of me for the car accident. Bridget, my car had four-wheel drive, anti-yaw, it has anti-skid, it had obviously ABS and traction control, all of that. It's designed for it. It was just, anyways, whatever. So I got back, and I got to nap for an hour and then went to the surgeon and came back and collapsed. So my entire day yesterday was everything was written off, and here we are. So I apologize. I wanted to do a stream yesterday morning, but for those of you wondering why, that's why I didn't. And John here, you put your chains on. John, listen. What do you think? You think I have chains? Watch Bridget start screaming at me. I'm driving from here to New York City and New Jersey and Massachusetts and Boston. What do I need chains for? I'm on the interstate, right? Think I should get them? Anyways, that was... Anyways, I worked in a grocery store and once took over unloading a load, never done it before, and the truck driver politely asked if I could be quick so he could get back to his family. I felt bad for him. Yeah, that's what we're all dealing with when we're in the dock. So not only do people want to get back home, but you're not getting paid. I mean, unless you work for hourly as a company driver, but I don't. I'm an owner-operator, so I'm only getting paid when, as they say, when the wheels are turning. But anyways, it is what it is. So there's my experience as a fake trucker. Some people kept saying during the convoy, he's not even a trucker. Just a lesson. Don't, just because people are mouthy doesn't mean they have a clue of what they're talking about. But anyways, it is what it is. So, I wanted to share this with you. I've created, you're going to have to listen on TikTok and Locals. This is why I wanted to do Locals exclusive content today, but it didn't work, but whatever. I'm going to put it on the mainstream, so on the encoder. I don't know what's going to happen with Discord. I don't think you'll see it. but I wanted to share. I tried to do my. Oh, let me find it. Yeah, I wanted to do my first YouTube short. It didn't quite work because it cut it off a little bit. And still, again, I'm learning this as I'm doing stuff because I just don't have time. So I'm going to share this YouTube short. This is a great one. I thought it was fascinating. And here, let me just play it for all of you right now. So let me shift over to YouTube. Yeah, you can see YouTube. There we go. Install system audio. The broadcast system audio in the Ecamm live system. Okay, whatever. All right, so here is my little... I start to scrub it to the beginning. Here's the little video I uploaded. All right, take a listen. This is Viva Fry and Keith Wilson for everybody else.
I know, I'm feeling the pull, pal. Once again, I've got my personal ties to Tamara, and you've seen Keith on the show, you've seen Tom on the show. It's no secret that I talk to those folks online. They don't call me up and say, hey, can you push this message for us, or can you tell everybody what we need you to tell them? Can you push this message for us, or can you tell everybody what we need you to tell them? They're embarrassed. They have shame.
I've seen a lot of people saying that they've been embarrassed to be Canadian and ashamed after the POEC. And Viva had a very good interview. They've gone full-blown Banana Republic. All these guys get paid is none of my business. Business. Keith Wilson on, he said, I don't want Chad in the chat. I don't want anybody in it. I just... It's none of my business.
He told him he doesn't want Chad in the chat? I wonder why.
It's not your business. It's not anyone's business. So we had Keith Wilson on the show, and I asked him, did you ask for $450,000 of crowdfunded money? He said yes.
There's a lot of money to be made in legal. I got my information from somewhere, and I feel bad. That could be this channel. About lawyers, it's not about donations, it's not about truckers. But this feels nice.
It's not about truckers.
Like this.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It's not about truckers? Here.
This channel, about lawyers, it's not about donations, it's not about truckers.
It's not about truckers, and he giggles, right?
About lawyers, it's not about donations, it's not about truckers. But this feels nice. I like this. I like this power. I don't...
With other people's money, and people say, hey, you've abused that power, you gotta give it back. Are you gonna go back to the poorhouse and say, okay, yeah, you're right, I'll give it back? Of course not.
Of course
You're
not.
going to find a reason to say, no, I deserve to keep this power.
It's a clown world. So what do you think of that? That was... stop. You can stop making the noise there. I thought that was rather enlightening. So that was done by... I got to give credit to Ashley. I don't remember Ashley's name. She's on Twitter, and she's a hypnotist. And that was, from the little bit that I know about that kind of end of, it's kind of like the marketing spectrum. You start with PR marketing, and then you end up in human behavior, and then you end up in hypnosis. But that is, from my perspective, excellent technique. And for those of you who are on Locals, I actually just posted the link to that video. And it's on my YouTube channel. It's called Drunk with Artificial Power. Artificial for a reason, but yeah, just what do you guys think? You know, what do you think about what we just saw? Could that be related to something broader? Do you think that maybe there's something broader going on behind the scenes? I don't know. That was great. Bridget, Volvo Says It All. Listen, Bridget, you told me you had a Freudian slip or an anchor, and that is when you told me you worked for Highlight Trucking, one of the things you liked about it was you got a Volvo. I didn't call you on it, but you said that to me. You know, big, nice Volvo. Like Volvos are kind of, my mechanics is Volvos are kind of like the the Cadillacs of trucking. Like, they're really comfortable. They drive like a car and all that sort of stuff. So don't tell me you don't like Volvos too, Bridget. I love you, but anyways, this is just the friendly banter that truckers do about trucking ongoing. But anyways, it's great. Oh my God, the comments here show a number of conspiracy theorists. Wow. Okay, sure. I'm not. That's on Facebook, I guess. I'm not sure. I only see. I mean, I see everything gets aggregated into here, but I guess maybe if you want to expand and explain what that is. Bridget, I also drive a Volvo, nearly 1 million miles on her. I have never had a major issue. Will, same thing. Mine is about 1 million kilometers, so not miles. Bought it used, obviously. And no, I had a very expensive year last year. Very, very expensive year. Not only losing 6 months worth of revenue because the city of Ottawa decided not to salt its sidewalks anymore, but I had my DOT, and for whatever reason, I guess there was some deferred maintenance from the previous owner, and it cost me a fortune. That's why I'm in the truck so much right now. I just want to pay I want to recoup everything that I've paid. So whatever. Wasn't there money quote? Let's see. Money is a symbol. Tamara. She said money is a symbol. Okay, I don't know. I know. Oh, maybe she's referencing when I was doing my interviews. I was explaining that the money were votes. That okay, that makes sense. But if the money wasn't there, would Keith and the crew be there? Yes, they would have. Just the money became secondary because Big Con Canada Inc. needed to get a hold of this narrative, which I'm going to discuss in a second. Nobody asks if Wilson and company got paid by the feds for the Rouleau Commission time spent. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know the witnesses all had the option to get paid for being there. That's why it cost $19 million in taxpayer money. But somebody said to me or posted somewhere that, oh, they didn't get it because they didn't think it was right to take taxpayer money. Oh, yeah. They're ideologically driven. Let me tell you. I got a few things to teach you about the Conservative Party. They have no problem, all politicians, they have no problem taking money from the Treasury when it goes to them. I mean, that's their salaries are based on. So, like, anyways, it is what it is. So, I hope you like that video. Please share it. It's on my YouTube channel. Drunk with Artificial Power. And what's really interesting, if you read it, or you can see Ashley's post on Twitter, read the text that Ashley is typing as the video is going through. It's very, very interesting. So, Benjamin, is it true that Transport Canada will ban trucks more than 12 years old from accessing federal loading and unloading sites like ports? I mean, yeah, that could be the latest thing they're going to do to destroy our industry. I have no idea. They were always trying to destroy every industry. That's just what it is. So I wouldn't be surprised. Benjamin Dichter Wilson said that he did take federal money for the commission, part of the legal funding proof. Okay, so he took money from the commission and then went to try to raid the escrow account for additional money, for additional $450,000. How much money are these people getting? Like, I know that the truckers, other than Bitcoin, really got nothing. You know, minus some cash that was floated around. I know Tamara had given some money to people and whatever. But it's like I feel like we've been raped by Big Con Canada Inc. They legitimately raped us. That's anyways, they don't think that's going to come back to haunt them. I'm surprised for you. Anyways, okay, on to this whole, what I'm trying to explain to. So many things have been happening. While I was having, the day from hell, of course I get harassed continually from Big Con Canada Inc. on Twitter. And thank you to all of you who are there to, troll and push back and enjoy yourself. And I guess it seems to be really getting to them at this point. But I want to explain this whole process because this is what's happened to the convoy. And we're going to talk in a very broad sense. This is also happening to the other freedom movements right now. I know some people who are struggling with this. And it's the process of Big Con Canada Inc., how they take over any sort of movement, any sort of political momentum or group that starts to gain a voice. Big Con Canada Inc. will go in and take over. I don't know about the Liberal side. I'm not a Liberal. I don't know about the NDP side. I'm not an NDP. I would guess that something similar happens on that side. And the goal is to protect the power and control of the political establishment parties. That's what they're there for, right? And, when I was heavily involved, you would hear frequently, I've talked about this all the time, hear frequently this term, control the messaging. We got to control the messaging. Forget governing, forget policies. We just got to control the messaging and manipulate people to vote for us. That's all they care about. That they're good at doing. So, in this case, or in the broader, and there are different techniques. I'm going to talk about the broadest of techniques right now. So step one is you have to have somebody who has some sort of name recognition, an MP, an MPP, some sort of activist. Nowadays, starting to get YouTubers or Twitters, but somebody who has some sort of name recognition, who is aligned with Big Con Canada Inc., needs to join the movement, whatever movement it's called. Okay, you decide what movement it is. All right. The next stage, and this is where they ran into problems with the Freedom Convoy. Okay, the next stage is have that person be associated with the movement. Okay, so that name becomes the person who is the go-to person who represents the movement. Now, there's still a lot of research going on with a whole bunch of people sifting through emails and group chats and a whole bunch of stuff. Then they're piecing stuff together week by week and learning that some people might have had ties that we didn't realize previously. But okay, we're just going to talk abstractly right now. You have a movement, let's say it's Farmers for Canada. Then you need to have somebody get involved who's either a well-known farmer or an MPP or an MP or an MLA. He'll join the movement. And then the next stage is he becomes, the de facto voice of the movement. How do they do that? They utilize fake news media. Don't think that all parties don't have allies within fake news media. That's how Hurt Locker Tom, you notice he got a neutral review from the Toronto Star in the middle of the convoy. I didn't even know about this. Saw this after, describing him as a convoy spokesperson, and this was on, I don't know, the second week when he kept calling press conferences without any authorization and, basically undermining everything we were doing. But somehow CTV and the Toronto Star post an article about somebody who's supposed to be conservative and somebody who is supposed to be part of the hateful convoy somehow gets a neutral review in CTV and the Toronto Star. How does that happen? Well, that's Big Con Canada Inc. doing that, right? Because remember, at the same time, he was secretly meeting with Doug Ford's former chief of staff and best friend, Dean French, and Keith Wilson. The three of them were meeting with the mayor's office without telling us, right? And at the same time, they're getting favorable review in fake news media. Well, why is that happening? All right. So then you create somebody who becomes the symbol. Then what's the next step? And you saw this with a lot of the stuff early with COVID, with all the protests. You saw that with that former MP Hillier, I think his name is Randy Hiller. Anyways, what would he do? He did that as well. If you've noticed, he kept going around to all these. Once this movement started and these restaurants started having events, he would show up And over a short period of time, people now started to associate him with the movement. Why? Because the fake news started to report that he was part of it, even though it was completely untrue. So now he's cemented as the voice. And then what's the next step? The next step is to nuke it intentionally. And there's a reason for that. Usually what they'll do is they'll say something stupid about like Hitler, or they'll compare everything to Hitler, and this is Hitler, and that is Hitler. That's the big one that they use. There's other things they can do as well. But the idea is to say something that's so off the wall or hyperbolic or stupid that the average normie, the average suburban normie, which is who the political parties are trying to court for their votes, who is starting to listen to this movement, thinks, okay, these people are crazy. Forget it. I don't want to hear any more. Turn it off. And then what does that do? That makes somebody like Lockdown Doug Ford seem reasonable. That's the goal. The goal is to take all of you who are building these movements that are grassroots, come in, tarnish the movement, so regular people turn off and don't want to listen to you. And what does that do? That secures the existing political structure and takes that whole block of suburban voters and pushes them back into the conservative sphere when they were considering something else. And again, this may not just be limited to the Conservative Party. Okay? Now, on that topic, there's somebody... Oh, hold on. They are using Tamara 100%. I don't know. That's really complicated. People are moving into this right now, and there seems to be a lot more there scratching underneath the surface. I don't really want to comment on it yet, but I think you're on to something. Tom is fundraising to get his book published. Okay, well, he can't do what I did, which was just dump a whole ton of money out of pocket and put the story together. You have to pay for it. So it's a total grift. Everybody is going to you for your money. Not only does Justin Trudeau want your money, everybody in Big Con Canada Inc. wants your money, while the rest of us truckers are all screwed because you've given your money to this conglomerate that is now holding, $5 million that they raised off of our backs, plus whatever they're raising right now. And the rest of us truckers are screwed. I got a message from a guy, 42 truckers and protesters that have zero representation. I got to call them later today or tomorrow to figure out what we're going to do. So not only is it myself and Bridget and Chad, Chris and some of the others, but now there's another 42 truckers that have zero representation. Whoa, I thought all that money was going to represent truckers, right? Or supporting a Freedom Convoy. Guess not. This is the grift. And just like the lefties, we say this about progressives, but it's not just progressives. It's people in the political sphere. They project everything that they're guilty of onto you, right? So Tom Marazzo Hurt Locker Tom. I don't mean to be disrespectful. Hurt Locker Tom, he is constantly trying to... It's defamatory when he kind of insinuates that, I don't know, I've heard Dichter might be a Fed or something. The guy is literally a Fed. He literally worked for the federal government in the military. Yet, what does he do? He projects onto other people. This is how all of you are being played. And this is why I'm not shutting up. And I've been talking about this the entire time. So, I don't know who... Tom and Shady to me from the beginning. Well, lots of people. Listen, there's a reason they look shady. They're shady. All right. So I don't know. I got to find this link because I'm going to share this link with you guys. Dang, I'm late to the party. K9, you're never late. You're never late. I love you. I'm so happy that you're here, and thank you. I'm going to pull this up on, and maybe I can see if I can, because I'm still learning here. I'm going to pull this tweet up. This is relevant to what we're talking about. And I wonder if can I put it in the Discord video chat? I know I can put it in the Honking for Freedom chat, which I'll put it there too, so you guys all have it. Can take a look at this. But, yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's in the locals. You can see that. And let me go to Discord. And can I post something in here? Is there no, like... no. Oh, wait, hold on. Yes. Okay, perfect. So whoever's watching in Discord, I'm putting the link in the chat here. And whoever's watching on TikTok, shame on you. You shouldn't have TikTok. It's Chinese spyware. Get off their phone. Anyways, they'll be banned soon anyways. All right, let me find... Oh, did they delete the tweet already? Don't tell me they deleted the tweet. There's so many tweets being deleted today. Oh my God! Oh wait, no, I'm blocked. Okay, let me go to this. Let me go to the Honking for Freedom account, and I will click on it there. Sorry, Pam. I gotta log into the other accounts as well just to share this link. All right, so. Remember, Big Con Canada Inc. is what we're talking about today. Now, this is the tweet. Hopefully you can see it. Let me just switch over. If you're in the other platforms, you can click on it, or you can just listen to me explain it. And there we go. Okay. So this tweet here was put up by this guy, Warren Kinsella. I don't know him because he's mainstream gibberish, so I don't really care what he says. I have no idea, but I do know that he's one of those. I guess he's one of those political like hitmen or something. Like he worked for the Liberal Party in the past, worked for the Conservative Party in the past, and whatever. Right. So notice what is he doing? They're picking pictures out of the Christine Anderson event, and they have a picture with. Is that Derek? Is that Derek? I guess that's Derek. With the Diagolon flag and Christine Anderson. And we all know Diagolon's a joke, right? A really poorly timed joke. But it's a joke. Okay, fine. So German MEP Christine Anderson of the far right, says a communist. I don't know if he's a communist, but the people on the communist side think everything that's not them is far right, right? Alternative for German party meets with 3 conservative MPs and also with the neo-Nazi group Diagolon. Wow. Okay. So, can you tell me what is the objective here? Do you know? Think in terms of Kinsella, and I don't know that this is the case, but this is just kind of the behavior. This is a good example. Why would somebody who gets hired by the Conservative Party be there to smear this Christine Anderson? What do you think? Why would somebody affiliated with the Conservative Party do that? Thanks for having me in Discord. I don't say much, however, I'm learning a lot for you all. Well, listen, please. The Discord is there for reach out to me anytime, share all your stuff. It's great. We're adding another room today as well. We're discussing. You don't see it in Discord anywhere. I put it in the I don't know, there's a chat bubble icon in the stream. I just put it there. Okay. So the reason they're trying to do this, why would Big Con Canada Inc. want to do this? Very, very simple. Let me find another I have to open in my browser. Shoot. Let me just find this thing for you. I know today's kind of a mess, but let me open another browser window and put this in here for you. Wait, can I not just open? Open. Hold on. Open file. Let's see. Desktop. Anderson JPEG. All right, here we go. So you should all be able to see it now. Can you see it? Let me just double check on eCam. All right, now remember, there we go. So, have you figured it out yet? Did you get it? Did you figure it out? Why? Put in the comments. Why would anything associated with somebody who's, I guess, a hired gun is a good way to describe him? Why would he want to tie Christine Anderson to this whole Diagolon thing, which you notice they were trying to do during the commission, and if we had any sort of objective ruling, it would have failed miserably. Right? Christine Anderson is now an official freedom trucker. Canadian freedom trucker. You understand what they're trying to do? They're trying to make her. I didn't understand it in the beginning. Why would they? Because a lot of money went to her to bring her here, to get her involved. And I mentioned this in the stream many times. Like, this would be like, I took the example of MP Larry Brock going to a foreign country, you name the foreign country, to attack and smear the leader. Why would you do that with like a random member of parliament? Like, she was great with what she did in the European Parliament. It was amazing. But what is this about? What's this nonsense about? Because if you tie her to the Freedom Convoy and you make her the spokesperson, a German, and then the new unofficial leader of the Freedom Convoy is seen next to their version of what they call the deplorables, right? What happens to the Freedom Convoy and this whole freedom movement? Remember the suburban people, once they see that people do something, they say something extreme, hyperbolic, racist, neo-Nazi, or whatever, they tune out. And then they build this narrative about, neo-Nazis, extremers, white supremacists, which doesn't exist. That's why. That's why they're doing this. This is all about public perception, not of you. That's the point. This is where people kind of lose it. They always think that, the politicians are talking. No, they're talking to people completely different from you. And they're trying to communicate to people completely different from you. So they can sabotage these movements. And once again, the average normie gets turned off because they see, they're painted as extremists. They're all extremists, whatever. But it's completely fake. And unfortunately, it looks, in this case, with Derek, who I know Derek. I used to be friendly with him. He became, and I don't mean this disrespectful to Derek, he became the useful idiot. Like the Diagolon thing, that's the useful idiot of the political class to turn off regular voters and to allow the establishment to maintain their power amongst everybody else in Canada. Can you see it? Does it make sense now? So they brought her here. She's going to be the face of the freedom movement. Throw her a few bucks, do some speeches. Somebody's going to come along and say something nuts, and then we'll pay one of our hired guns, or we'll get one of our hired guns, collect on a favor. Is usually more often favors than money. And we'll get that hired gun to just destroy the movement. That's what they've been trying to do to the Freedom Convoy since it started. That's why they kept propping up Pat King. Why? Because Pat King said some things that could be easily quote mined, or were easily divisive amongst the average normie. Just is not going to take a liking to his comments, and that's why the CBC needed to feature him. This is all about the establishment conservative parties controlling you because you are the product. That's what they're doing here. This is pure propaganda and manipulation. And this is why during the convoy, I was very apprehensive and careful with people with who is going to say what, because I know these are the types of tactics that they use. That's why we needed to have a messaging strategy that wouldn't fall into these traps. Because this is what they do. They don't do, I don't have to swear here. They don't care about governing. They are completely incompetent with governing. But when it comes to deceit, when it comes to manipulating you and promulgating propaganda, that they are experts in. So that's what this was all about. And many of the people involved, like Derek, for example, and maybe even Christine Anderson, they don't know. Like, they don't know that they're being used in this way often. But that's what the war room does in politics. That's what it's all about, controlling the message and public perception. I think I had another link I wanted to share here with you. I'll get your comments in a second, and then we'll get on. Okay. So then here we go. Here's now a follow-up. This came up as well just before I started. And here's another tie to Big Con Canada Inc. So here is Brian Lilly, whose girlfriend is the communications officer for Doug Ford's political party. The same party that was, the same Doug Ford that was locking all of you down, and he sent his best friend to Ottawa to help sabotage the convoy, okay? And of course, what is he talking about? He condemns this this racist and hateful stuff that was on display with Christine Anderson, the MEP. So they've used Christine to promulgate this propaganda and once again cement control within the political establishment. Now, you're going to say, what about Lesley Lewis's involvement? That's okay. Lesley Lewis, she's got her base would not be, not racist, but her base is very anti-authoritarian, anti-WEF. You notice all her messaging is like her messaging could be the PPC messaging, right? So they know if they're going to send one MP there, let's send Lesley Lewis because all her supporters won't care because it'll in fact help her. This is what they spend all their time doing. They're completely nuts, these people. It's completely, whatever. So there you go. There's more Big Con Canada Inc. doubling down on this narrative to destroy this grassroots movements of the Freedom Convoy. And if enough normies see this in fake news media, then what are they going to do? They don't know the whole story, just see little sound bits here and there. Then they're just going to dismiss Freedom Convoy and everything as a racist, bigot, whatever. That's why you got the Rouleau-Wilson ruling, right? Rouleau's report was a hybrid of the Liberal Party narrative and the Conservative Party narrative, and the person who sold the Conservative Party narrative on the record was Keith Wilson, right? Remember, like moths to a flame, the types of crazies that were in Ottawa. This is all intentional because it's all about not allowing any sort of grassroots movement or grassroots thing take hold that they can't control. They can't have a Facebook page with 500,000 people who follow it who are conservatives and critical of the conservative establishment. They can't have that. It would destroy the party, right? It would destroy them. That's why they're doing this. As opposed to actually giving you some policies and speaking up on the ways about the things you want. I don't know if you saw when Pierre talked about his response to the report, to the Rouleau report. He started talking about inflation. like those were the talking points that they were trying to give me and others during the convoy. Now, strategically, I understand why he's doing that, but that's what we get all upset over. We get upset at the script. We don't want a script anymore. We want people who speak authentically. There's nothing that sells better and will sell more votes than authenticity. And none of them are able to do that. It's, it's really frustrating. Let me turn this off. Okay. So, that is more of Big Con Canada Inc. And, these people, you've talked even in this chat about Hurt Locker Tom and Wilson, Pat King in a suit, I like to call him. These are just low-level bottom feeders, right? One of them is making more money than God, and I hope he makes a lot of money because that will be very interesting in Discovery. But they're just cogs in the wheel, right? That's it. They're low level. This is much higher than them. That's where this strategy comes from. So this is where I ask and go back to, who sabotaged the convoy? Because it's getting really interesting, isn't it? I'm sure most of you have seen Roe's videos on War Campaign. He's gotten a massive information dump, as well as some other people. Diverge Media has been very quiet for a while. I would guess that's with intention, but I don't want to say anything. I think you're all about to see a lot, not just about this Freedom Convoy and the alternative media associated with them, but all the players. I think this will be very interesting. What seems to be, we're going on this trajectory that sabotaging the Freedom Convoy was the last straw. And I think once people understand what they did, what this organization did to you and your freedoms, to consolidate power for themselves, to ensure all the money went to themselves, their organizations, and the lawyers, and the truckers got nothing. I think once enough of you realize this, you're going to fucking crucify them when you see what they've actually done. It's really quite gross and disgusting. And this might have been the last time that they'll have ever done this. Now, I know they're trying to do that with the freedom movements. The freedom protests that happen every week in Toronto, they happen at Queen's Park. They're happening all over. The same thing is happening. They're doing the same entryism, divide and conquer, make somebody else the new face who's going to say something stupid, and to destroy the movement. Wait, did Chris Skye just not announce that he's running for mayor at the Queen's Park Freedom Movement event? Wonder if he's said anything that your average suburban normie would find off-putting and make Doug Ford seem reasonable and the political establishment seem reasonable. You're all being played, all of you. And you are the product. So, anyways, okay. Trucker convoy distancing. Yeah. You guys are so funny. I'm just reading. Let me see. Okay, but Ukraine tweet. Oh, sorry. I don't. Both politicians and corporations are counting on individuals to act on emotions and not reason. Well, this is how we all operate, right? This is why that video that Ashley posted is so effective. It's really good technique. But that's he blocked me today for giving him the truth on that post. I went to town on this thread because the window is still open. Did you see Brian Lilly's post? Well, I just posted that. Okay, so I'll move down. So I've already posted that. Let's go to the next group of comments here. BJ, what do they gain by controlling the message and narrative? Everything. Fundraising, votes. If you control the messaging and the narrative, no other political party can build. Now, I'm not going to get into this too much, but for example, what happened with Belinda Kalaharios. She was the one conservative MP who voted against the Conservatives. So she went out and started her own party with her husband, Jim Kalaharios, my lawyer. Not because of politics, because of his skill. And what happened? Well, they used this, the useful idiot of the day, Derek Sloan, and he took over this fake Ontario party, and that was there just to put out messaging to grab all the Christians and say, look, I'm hyper-Christian. Look at my video. I'm on the Mount. I'm Jesus himself. So none of those Christians would go to any effective grassroots party, and Doug Ford would get reelected. You've all been played. This is how they operate. They don't spend any time on governing. They spend all their time on this kind of bullshit. It's just really frustrating. So that's why they do it. And Andrea, this is not unique to Canada. This is, I think, perfected in Latin America. And I'm sure you spend a little bit of time on the ground in Chile, like I saw it in Colombia as well. I have some friends who are telling me about what's going on. I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty similar to what goes on in Canada. Yeah, that's what it was. So, okay, here we go. We got another troll. Master of Snatch. Well, that's really here we go. We got, is Benjamin saying that all soldiers are defected federal operatives because they work for the federal government? No, that's not what I'm saying. Because BJ was directly involved with the Conservatives in something called LGBT. Yes, I was. And the reason I was is because the big problem that the Conservatives have is they can't get a foothold in places like Toronto, in places like Montreal and like the big urban centers that very lefty, right? And one of the things that I found over the subsequent years, because I ran for city council, is just I wanted to make Christine, what's her name, Wonton's life miserable. And so, which I think I did for a little bit, because she's a racist and a bigot. And legitimately. But anyways, so when I ran, what I found was everybody, once they hear conservative, they homophobe, racist, bigot. That's all they heard constantly, right? And I do have friends that they're kind of like, Dave Rubin conservatives. They're gay, they're fiscal conservatives, they're conservative on other issues. But in their community, if anybody votes conservative, then they get ostracized. It's really weird. It's like these weirdo activists control everybody. Same as what we're seeing with this grassroots stuff. So I said to a friend of mine who's gay, I'm like, why don't we just start like kind of a more libertarian sort of, we'll do a gay LG. We didn't call it LGBT at the time, but we'll time like a gay group that's pro-conservative for you and the rest of the guys, just to kind of, be able to reach people in your community and make at that time Stephen Harper, digestible. Because I'm sick and tired of people saying, oh, you're a conservative, therefore you're racist. And so that's what we did. And we, in fact, it's so funny, the lunatics not the lunatics, and I understand where they're coming from, it's difference of opinion, but in fact, when one of the things we did is we inserted in the Conservative Party policy an additional line, and kudos to the people who really took lead on the policy wording and stuff, to protect religious institutions, their right to not participate in gay marriage. So it's a win for everybody. Everybody should have been happy with it. But the Big Con Canada wasn't. You know why? Because they weren't in control. They need to control everybody. Like, they're obsessed. They're lunatics, these people. But anyways, that's why we did it. That's what it was about. It was just trying to make the conservatives digestible to people in the urban centers, so the smear against them. Most conservatives don't care, really. Most conservatives just want to be left alone. And you do you, I do me, and that's it. And that was kind of the goal there. But anyways, what are you going to do? I'm Cheryl. I'm happy that I found you on YouTube, Ben. You truly bless me with the truth. Listen, I don't bless you. The truth blesses all of us, right? And it sets us all free. And this is why, despite having like the worst couple of days going in the U.S., being sidelined an additional day, and my stalker online, who seems to be obsessed with me, apparently did another video about me, like. I can't tell you how much I don't want you to talk about me. Go ahead. Keep doing it, please. Right? Why don't you should put put the domain, the URL to my channel. Just tell all your people, go to BJ's channel and just troll him. Please send them over here. I'd be really appreciative of that. As much as everyone hates Chris Skye, he was right on everything he says. Yeah, honestly, he didn't say anything profound from my perspective. I think what he did is he just took a lot of what a lot of people knew, and he just said it in a very direct way, which is fine. So I don't really have a problem with it. But it's what's going to get him is amongst the normies in suburbia is all of the the Holocaust denial stuff. Just don't talk about stuff you don't know about. Just don't. Why do you do that? What's the point? But he did it on Rebel News. I don't know what movement he was ahead of at that point, or was in charge of, or not in charge of, but becoming a voice for. He became a voice for something, and then he went on Rebel News and he said that, and then what happened? Boom, it died out, right? Did he know he was doing that? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't really care either way. It doesn't really make a difference to me. But that's how these people are positioned. So that's why they're invited to certain things, because they know they'll do something that the political establishment, that Big Con Canada, will be able to use to crush whatever movement it is amongst a segment of voters that they want to appeal to, which is the largest block of voters. That's what this is all about. This is all about them maintaining control over you. And this was just one of the strategies. There's so many different strategies like this. It's just a start. And that's degrading. I'm offended. Sonia, not everything. The Queen was not a lizard. Didn't drink blood or die months after. I'm so confused with that comment. I don't get it. Whatever it is, what it is. Anyways, so now that you all know how Big Con Canada Inc. works to manipulate all of you and to ensure that the only policies you have to vote for are the ones that they tell you are the important policies. So, yeah, okay, inflation is important, although I did listen to a very interesting podcast with James Altucher on, as he was discussing, James Altucher used to be a hedge fund manager, computer programmer, comedian, podcaster, really smart guy, really nice guy if you meet him face to face. And, but he was talking about how in the basket of things that are measured for inflation, what's it called, CIB, that 60% of those things right now are deflationary. Now, you don't see it because the things that are inflationary right now are energy and food, which are what we spend most of our money on. But most things right now are actually deflationary. So at least that's his thesis. I'm not saying that's true or not, but I haven't looked at the data. But it's a very interesting thesis. So anyways. Tao, so where does the PPC end up in all of this? Sorry, the text is so small. I thought it said and. Where does the PPC end up in all of this? Very interesting. I'll talk about that another time because there are good people in all parties, whether it's CPC. I talk to a lot of people in even the Ontario PC party that are really upset with the direction, and sometimes that's people's paycheck are dependent on it, and they have no choice. CPC as well, PPC as well. So that's why I say in this election I'm not voting for anybody, so I can talk openly and nobody can say, oh, he's just shilling for a party. I'm not voting, but I want you guys to at least understand the facts, true, but what they are. Okay, well, here we go. The most trolly thing. BJ, it's not trolling when somebody brings up facts about you. Well, I just explained the facts, and this is what you call, profound comes from. So this is what they call cognitive dissonance, right? So he started with a smear, not understanding what it is. I explained it in its full context and what was the strategy and why, and he responds with this. That's what you call cognitive dissonance, because Scott Adams is talking about this. He's building this list. It's really interesting. The 7 signs of cognitive dissonance. I might talk about it at some point, and it's really interesting. And this is one of the tells when people slip into this ad hominem sort of thing. It's kind of the framing of it. Is that really what it is? But anyways, and there's a bunch of other comments here. Your logic is a joke, and this and that. That's because there's no argument. If that's the argument, then that means he knows he's wrong. And that's what you're going to see a lot of from Big Con Canada Inc. people. Sometimes people don't understand what they are because they've bought into a narrative due to narrative poisoning. That's what I was pushing up against during my testimony in the commission, was this massive narrative poisoning that started in August around a deal, which I never even heard that word until August. We referred to it jokingly when I made fun of Keith, called it, moving the trucks. Yeah? What's happening with moving the trucks, Keith? Insinuating that you said the city's going to help us and we're going to get somewhere. What's happening? And that's when he responded with, oh, got some good news. We're going to do a letter to the Premier's office because we have somebody who's going to have our ear and listen to us. And that's what I responded with when he sent it to me in an email form. I said, fine, looks good to me. Yet he's trying to pass it off as something else. So these are common deceptive tactics. It is what it is. They keep doubling down, which is crazy. They keep doubling down on these narratives, not understanding that all that does is help red pill people. When you continue to lie with people, lied to people with the same lie, doubling down, and then they started to retract a little bit. Like they tried a messaging with one of the fake Ontario Party candidates put out something on Facebook that somebody sent to me. Somebody sent to me and said, look at here. Look what she says. She said that, I can't remember the person's name. I have it somewhere. But she said, how did she word it? Oh, she said, technically there wasn't an actual deal, but they were working on a deal. Okay, why is the Fake News Ontario Party even commenting on it? Oh, because that's part of Big Con Canada Inc. And notice they were backtracking. So we went from there was a deal 100% to, well, we tried to get a deal, but the city wasn't receptive. I think that's how she described it. So whenever they keep shifting the goalposts and moving them around and changing the response or whatever, that's how you know we caught them. And that's why, thank God for people like Joseph Rampart and other people online who did some digging, understands that everything I've been telling them has been fluid and consistent and the same, has never changed, because I'm just telling everybody what the truth is. And sometimes people will slip out of the cognitive dissonance and they'll drop the bias and they'll look at the emails and the communications and the articles in Diverge Media and the articles in the National Telegraph and the videos from War Campaign, and then they'll realize, okay, they'll never say they're wrong, because human beings don't do that. What they'll do is they'll say, I didn't have all this information before, but now we have all the information. Which is fine. That's good enough. I understand it's difficult for some people, like Mr. Snatch here, to admit that they're wrong. But at some point, eventually they will. And send a shout out when you're ready. I appreciate it. Risa, I just saw Risa popped up and then she disappeared. Hold on. Somebody keeps posting and posting and posting and posting. Stop. I can't see Risa's message unless you... do you still feel hopeful with everything that you have learned in the past few months? Rita, yes, I do. I definitely do. This Twitter space that we did the other day in Spanish on Wednesday night, it was Wednesday night that we started. It's so nice to see that people, not only are you not alone. I think people learned during the convoy that they were not alone. And that was the biggest contribution. But now what I'm learning, speaking to these people in Latin America who are going through the exact same thing we're going through in Canada, that we're not only not alone in Canada, we're not alone in the world, that most people agree that the crazy town, the clown world stuff has to stop. And they're experiencing it as well, which is good, which is why we're going to be able to build this into something more global, and that will have allies all over the world. That's why in my Discord now we have a Spanish room and a French room. And we're just test bedding still. We're building the infrastructure so we can bring a flood of people in at some point just to engage in this sort of stuff. And we won't have to deal with the trolling issue, and people will understand. But no, I'm very optimistic. Things are going to get... Remember I said, Risa, there's going to be bumps in the road. But I think we've hit peak craziness. We might still be in peak craziness, but I don't think it's going to get much worse. It might get a little bit worse, but not much worse. K9 says, Mass is Mr. Snatch. What an unfortunate name. This must be your first exposure to BJdichter, because you're telling us things we don't know, and now go do Hurt Locker Tom. Hurt Locker Tom. Bridget, the Ontario Party not impressed. Yes, and Bridget was a candidate for the Ontario Party and who got sucked into it. And I think Bridget had all good intentions. She wanted to get involved. She wanted to help. That's why she and other people started the convoy, because they wanted to help all of you. And but I think she realized after that it was very disappointing and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Bridge. Oh, yeah. Apparently, I'm a grifter because I just laid out like more money than God to have a book published to show everybody the truth of what went on. That's the sort of nonsense, that sort of cognitive dissonance that's the only thing you can. That's only what you would expect out of Big Con Canada Inc. All right. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to get through the trolley comments. Okay, some of these are funny. All right. I think the last thing just to get into is, and this is related to Risa, your comment about positivity. We talked a while ago about the 5-minute journal and, utilizing these exercises to get us out of a state of anxiety and focus on, positivity and the positive things. So the first question that we do when we get into this state of anxiety, we want to begin our day positively, start with what are 3 things you're most grateful? So Risa, what are 3 things you're most grateful for? Think about it. And you have to shift into that state of gratitude. I know it's a little woo-woo and whatever. Like, I get it. But it actually works. Like, it's kind of crazy. And I did it this morning. When I was doing the notes for this stream, I wanted to figure out what were, I needed to get in that headspace and realize that despite that the last couple of days were miserable, that I had to drive on basically a sheet of ice to try to get back. And I had no choice because I had a doctor's appointment that was booked months before, and I couldn't miss it because I already missed it once. I had no choice but to stay on the road, and it was, I got to tell you, with that wind in New York State on I-90 in a tractor trailer that wasn't fully, at a very light load. I wasn't hauling 80,000 pounds. I think my total combined weight was something like 35,000 pounds. So basically I'm half loaded. So the wind has much more of an effect pushing me off this ice patch. So I was going so slow. And so despite all of that nonsense, it's important to come back and reset and realize that, we all got it good, all of us, no matter how bad it is right now, that there are so many good things. So I started with, what are 3 things that I'm most grateful for right now, if I had to focus on gratitude? And I came up with these. The first was, despite the stress of that long drive back yesterday, and you had to see it. It was truck sliding on the ice. It was not good. But anyways, number 1, this winter has been relatively mild, and it's almost over. We're going to be in spring soon. Yeah, it's going to be a couple of weeks of, cold and nonsense. I'm sure we'll get another snowfall in March like we always do. But at least here, things are going to get a little better. And before you know it, we're going to be in spring and summer. So that is something to be optimistic for, right? The sunshine is around the corner. Number 2, the truth is coming out about how the convoy was sabotaged. More and more people understand that. That's why there's some people who are in massive damage control on TikTok and keep making. I couldn't believe I saw Chris Barber do a video attacking War Campaign. Who would have predicted that, right? But the guys at War Campaign, hey, they're not here for Dichter. They're here for the truth. And I guess they've discovered that Dichter's been doing his best to just share the truth with everybody and not deceive any of you. So, and I'm very thankful to them too. So I'm thankful that the truth is coming out about the convoy, how it was sabotaged, and more will be coming out over the next several months. And the truth is coming out about the cerveza sickness medicine, right? That so many of you were right. That's something to celebrate and be grateful for. And it's very easy to be angry that 2 years of your lives were disrupted or ruined, or even 3 years. Yesterday, I had to put a mask on like an idiot when I went to this doctor. I couldn't believe it. And even the girl who worked there is like, this makes no sense. She was just traveling all over, and she's like, yeah, there's no masks anywhere in the world. And we agreed that Canada is the Twilight Zone. But the truth is coming out in that respect. And then the other thing is, all of you who have joined my Discord so far and who are participating in it and contributing to it and helping Tao and us come up with ideas and figure out how it's going to work, and just posting some amazing stuff, information, stuff that I didn't know. That's how I got these memes. And some of these posts that keep getting deleted when I find out, it's kind of like, oh crap, Dichter's going to find out and use it against us to destroy us. Yes, he is. That's exactly what he's going to do. So, but yeah, all of you who are contributing there, it's amazing. I really do appreciate it, and it's amazing. So thank you. So those are the three things that I was grateful for, and it is what it is. Risa says Bitcoin meeting. Oh, this is what Risa's thankful for. Bitcoin meeting some fantastic people in the past year. Eyes wide open. Thanks to you. Well, Risa, thank you for having such an open mind in that first Twitter space. I remember it because I was in Florida at the time, just before Bitcoin Miami, and you were open to it. And you said, okay, sure, tell me more. And we talked a little about it with DJ Satoshi. And you were a good sport. So thank you for, and so many other people have been doing the same thing. Pam is on that journey as well. Like there's a bunch of people. So thank you. And it was great to finally meet you in person when I drove back from that trip to Rhode Island. And I'm going to try to come out to the next Bitcoin conference in Toronto. Also, another thing, there is going to be a massive festival in New England that I'm going to be participating in around Bitcoin, around freedom, around truckers, and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm actually having a meeting with them this afternoon. It'll be in the summer. It's not going to be for a little while. If you are inclined to take a trip down to New England in the summer, it's going to be, I think, 4 days, a 4-day-long festival. Lots of music, DJs. It's just going to be a lot of fun. It really is. And, I mean, these are reasons to be not only grateful but hopeful, because we're all finding each other. Nobody's alone. Despite, there's always going to be noise coming from the Bitcoin Canada trolls, the bottom feeders, but whatever. It is what it is. The bottom feeders will will disappear. You're going to see soon that Hurt Locker Tom and Pat King in a suit are going to disappear. By the way, that's not disrespect to Pat King. That's disrespect to the person in the suit. I don't expect Pat King to be a lawyer. And I think my impression of Pat King is he's proud of being more of a salt of the earth type guy, which is fine, good, great. And nobody likes lawyers anyways, right? What do we discuss on this stream? Who are the three least credible people in society? Politicians, lawyers, with an asterisk because they're hired to do so, and the media, right? So, all right. And yeah, so that's why I'm very optimistic. So, and Bridget, when I find out more about what's happening with this festival, I'm going to let you know, because I think you and many of the others would want to participate in it and enjoy this. This will be great. And yeah, we'll be great. So, oh, this is an interesting one. Hold on. This is from the Snatch. Wait. Comments. Don't go away, Snatch. Snatch says, Derek showed some pretty damning evidence too. All he's done is conjecture. He hasn't shown evidence. Heard a rumor that a rumor. Okay, evidence and rumor. Well, which one is it? Heard a rumor that BJ was running around elated and proud of himself when he rented a $60,000 plane. What? What kind of plane? I mean, listen, I love planes. I wish I had 60 grand to rent a plane. Oh, no, I think you're talking about when Tamara volunteered $63,000 of Adopt a Trucker money to fly into dirtbag lawyers on, that's what I call the plane from hell. So for some reason, I think because the money was being frozen or whatever it was, and she volunteered Adopt a Trucker money to pay for it. And I still don't understand why. Like, did she invite those lawyers to Ottawa? Like, she didn't tell me that. I just, found out after they were there when I went to scream at Pat King in a suit for doing a stupid video, and which was the first step in sabotage, which altered the perception of mood and behavior of the convoy. That was his video who did it, and I'm willing to bet it was completely intentional, but I can't prove that. It's just that's my speculation. So yeah, no, that wasn't me. That was Adopt a Tractor was raising money, and Tamara volunteered it. So maybe I don't know. Ask Tamara why she. I'm guessing she was just under pressure, and so many people were attacking her. I don't know. Yeah, here we go. So Tao, I think that's a bit of a mix-up. The $60,000 plane was from Wilson, the lawyers, and Tamara's husband. Yeah, that's right. Dwayne also was on that flight, as well as Chad, I think, was on that flight too, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so Master Snatch. I bet you that. I wonder if that's Derek. Is it Derek or Dave? I keep confusing. I guess it's Derek. You keep writing that. Anyways, I don't want to get sucked into talking about them anymore, to be entirely honest. That's not really my concern. Bridget, Tamara agreed because apparently Ontario has no lawyers. That's a good point. Yeah. You know what, Bridget? You know, sometimes people point out what should be painfully obvious, and then you realize, you're like, wait, good point. We had no lawyers in Ontario? Like, you know how many lawyers I know? I could have, like, that's why I was so pissed off about the escrow money. I'm like, I can get us all lawyers, like a whole team of lawyers. I know so many lawyers, but it had to be these people, and I don't know. The only I don't know. I still don't know. My understanding was they didn't know each other, but that turns out that might not be the case. So I'm not entirely true. I don't. People are digging into it. They'll tell me what they find out. I got to deal with other stuff. There's so much stuff going on. Cheryl is, I'm grateful for love. There you go. You know what? And we all have it. None of us are alone. Regardless where you were on the cerveza sickness medicine spectrum, everybody is now learning the truth, and that's going to help bring us all together. So, Bridget, we also have to wear masks when we attend a health center. Yeah, that's what I just did yesterday. I just don't wear any. Well, because, Andrea, you're in... Es la attitude de America Latina. For you guys, you don't care what the government says. Canadians actually trust their government and do what the government tells them. Not that Bridget does, but we do as a society. It's one of our big problems. It's the reason Big Con Canada Inc. is able to grab such a foothold on everything that's going on. Alyssa, I've seen in Discord that Chad was saying he is not affiliated with you now. Was that always the case, or am I missing something? I don't know. I don't know the context of affiliated. He just messaged me earlier this morning. So he might be talking in like a legal, technical term, because right now we're probably going to be doing more. Right now my only joint retainer is with myself and Chris Guerra. So that's like a legal affiliation through a retainer. Maybe that's what he's talking about, I would assume. But no, Chad's good. Chad's good. Okay, well, anyways, I just, all these snatch things, I can't. You're clogging up the feed here, man. Like, there's other people want to talk. I have the personal message from Keith about the plan. All right, I guess you're going to be posting that at some point when it's appropriate. Tamara promised and has never paid for the flight. Chris Guerra did. Yeah, that was the... I explained that already. That's okay. So, okay. Here this is how you know it's Big Con Canada Inc. It was Tamara that booked the plane. It was not Tamara that booked the plane. It was BJ. What plane? How do I book a plane? Like, oh my God, I was so in the. So I love how Dichter was never around. Dichter had nothing to do with it, but then Dichter's controlling everything, and Dichter's in every meeting. Pick one. Which one is it? And they actually landed when, because remember I said on the 30, I'm getting my dates confused now. The 30th, I think, was the day that I had to leave, come back to Toronto, drop somebody off who came with me, do a quick run to Elmira, New York, and then come back the next day. And that's when the car accident, that's when they showed up. They showed up when I was on my way back. So that's when I found out a plane. Okay. The only thing I knew about a plane is Tamara asked me, she told me that somebody is covering a plane. And I'm like, okay, because it kind of was, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I was there for messaging. They do their thing. And she said to me, oddly, she's like, do you think I can bring my husband on the plane. And I'm like, sure, why not? I don't know. I guess. And then Dwayne showed up on the plane. That's all I know. But anyways, I understand why people couldn't just fly coach. You just go to the airport, get a ticket for $500, fly in. But that just kind of shows you the parasitic nature of Big Con Canada Inc. And now they're still hoarding the $5 million. And apparently, again, they're going to try to go after escrow money. So the $450,000 that they didn't need for the commission, that wasn't enough. Now they're doing the same thing again. So whatever. While the rest of us have nothing. We have bupkis. Nothing. The rest of us are going to have to fend for ourselves and figure out how to do this. You know, it is what it is. Anyways, I think what I'm going to do, hold on. I'm going to shut down. Just throw your... Oh, and Andrea, you have to let me know when we're going to do another... what's it called? When we're going to do another live stream in Spanish. And we're going to have... a Twitter stream. Twitter space in Spanish. We're going to have to do one. And just going to... You know what? I'll have to figure this out after. I'll do it after. Okay, so... the basic thing I wanted to end off is on focusing on gratitude, focusing on positivity. I'm super positive because every day there's more and more people sending me messages. You can tell they're turning the corner. They're realizing that everything that I was saying was true. And I'm really appreciative of that. Like that's great. And it's because so many of you have been really great in just trying to red pill people and show them the truth, as opposed to this smear coming out of the Big Con Canada Inc., the group that has been raping everybody for donations for the past year and abandoning truckers, yet simultaneously virtue signaling around truckers. And then they have this what's it called? They have this YouTuber spending his time defaming and attacking the trucker who was the voice during the convoy. I mean, self-awareness is not their strength. They're just like Trudeau. They're no different. Benjamin, is Wilson linked to TBOF by any chance? Yes, because TBOF's chair is Brian Peckford. And how many times did Keith Wilson say over and over again, trying to give himself social proof, that Brian Peckford is his client? So, yes. Oh, and there's something else. I wish I had maybe I can see if I can find the shot here. Yeah, you know what? I'll do it here. If you can give me a second. This is relevant to this exact conversation. I just got to go back into my library here and find this. It's from, I think Chad posted this. This was about TBOF. And while I scroll this, I'm going to try to explain it. So the Freedom Convoy had a Twitter account, okay? And that Twitter account was registered. Yeah, here it is. That Twitter account, I'm going to have to, how am I going to open this in the browser? Let me, okay, I'll put this one in here. This is going to be worth it. This will give you some definite insight into what's going on. Let me just get the browser here. TBOF was registered in January, I believe on the 22nd or the 24th. I'm not sure the exact date. Okay? Now, that was before anybody left. So nobody has left, except for maybe BC. Bridget would be able to explain that better than me. But hold on. File. Import. Wait. I just did it like 2 seconds ago. How do you import open file? All right. So, do number 29 or 30. Which one first? So we do, I think number 30 first and then 29. Yeah, okay. So, I can't put this. This is his phone number. So let me close that one. I mean, I can send it privately and put it on the Discord private group or something so people can see this. The TBO was started before anybody left Ottawa. Okay, left Ottawa, left the West to come to Ottawa. And, I just did the same thing. They had set up an account on Twitter called Freedom Convoy, which I never used. And the reason I never used it was because I knew we would have censorship issues and we would have to deal with it. So anything that would be branded, I explain this in the book, I talk about it in the book. Anything that would have the Freedom Convoy brand on it would be susceptible to be sabotaged. To be censored. So I had to avoid using, official Freedom Convoy Twitter accounts and all that sort of stuff. Okay, now, so the Freedom Convoy 2022 Twitter account, which I never used, was set up. And Chad was given, when he was in good standing with them, when he was doing what they told him to say, he got access to that account. And he posted this for everybody to see, so you can understand all the links. So remember, Peckford is head of TBOF. And Keith is the lawyer for Peckford. Okay? Got it? Got it. Now, what I'm going to show you, this is the account admin for Freedom Convoy 2022, which has about 10,000 followers. And they wanted it to be, I guess, the official Twitter account, but they didn't. Bridget is using big letters, so I'll get to that in a second. I'm not sure what it is, but I'll check in a second. All right. So look at here. This is the account for Freedom Convoy 2022. Notice the email. The email is tbofconvoy2022@protonmail.com, which is interesting. And I think Diverge Media is looking into this a little bit deeper. I don't really know. But what's interesting for you is that telephone number there that is registered, and this was apparently registered in January. Okay? That phone number is Keith Wilson's phone number. Does he have a time machine? How did Keith Wilson know in January, before anybody left, to create a Freedom Convoy 2022 Twitter account with the Taking Back Our Freedom Convoy Proton Mail account if he was just inspired by the truckers? It's the same thing Tom Marazzo said, right? Oh, I was just inspired by the truckers. And then we find out later on he starts changing his story. It's, Randy Hillier called me and asked me to come. And who was the other guy he said called? Oh, and James Bowder. He called me and asked me to come. Well, which one was it? So there's definitely some funny business going on here, would you say? I don't know. But I know there are people that are digging deep into TBOF and how it all works and who's interconnected and how it all operates. And we should get some word in the near future how this whole orchestra works. But remember, Big Con Canada Inc. Well, there you go. There's a direct link to Big Con Canada Inc., a former premier. Doesn't get bigger than that, does it? Right? So why did Tamara need to fly Keith in if Peckford was already in Ottawa and could have him flown in himself or Mad Max? I don't know. Oh, yeah, and on TBOF, so Peckford's conservative, and clearly it's a very politicized organization. Keith Wilson, I believe he ran for the president of the Wild Rose Party. He endorsed recently Danielle Smith, was with Danielle Smith during the endorsement. She wanted his endorsement for a reason. So these are all political operatives on the conservative side. But on the board of advisors of Taking Back Our Freedoms is, well, why don't I go there? Let me show you this. This is getting interesting. TBOF. I'm telling you because maybe you guys can all figure this out, because I can't figure this all out. This is all just confusing at this point, how everything is related. And what do I know? I'm just a trucker, right? Like I don't know stuff. So if we go to the board of advisors for TBOF, I'm going right to the website right now. So hopefully they don't remove it in the future. Alyssa, here, let me take your tweet down. We have, so this is Brian Peckford's organization, conservative organization. Keith Wilson is the lawyer for the chairman. And on the board of advisors, who's that? Oh, that's Maxime Bernier? and Danny Balford? What's going on here? I thought they're morally corrupt. I mean, they are. I agree. But what's this grift about? And I have another question. How much money was transferred through emails to that address, TBOF Convoy 2022? Because as far as I understand, that's money that was, I don't know, did it not get locked into escrow? Like, we don't have any account of any of that money. Maybe we do. I should ask Chad. I'm not sure. I probably shouldn't say something until I know for sure. But, so yeah, where is, hold on. I need to find you, Alyssa, because that was a very, very good and pointed question, and your timing was great, and I've already lost your question to post on here because I want to include it, but what am I going to do? Everything's so small on this. Here it is. Here it is. So there you go. So why did Tamara need to fly Peckford in and was already in Ottawa and could have flown him in himself or Mad Max? I don't know, but here's Mad Max with TBOF. I think it's a little bit of I think there might be a lot more to this story than people realize, right? Big Con Canada Inc. Do you like the branding? I got to thank Stephen Crowder for helping to enlighten me with that. And because I think despite the issues that he's had with Daily Wire, that's more just, contract negotiation and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's very appropriate for what we're dealing with here in Canada, and how the conservative establishment always ensures that the policies and ideas that you want, that their lobbyists don't want, never, ever see the light of day. So people who are like, when they're, I'm going to go to the policy convention, doesn't mean anything because they just do this, right? That's how they operate. He has never asked for money, unlike the people he talks about. Yeah, I don't like asking for money. I really don't. I've monetized the local stream. A few people contribute here. I monetize a little bit of the Substack, which, by the way, I'm really behind. I got to get a couple of articles out, and I will, I promise. But Bridget and I and so many others are now technically, like, I have counsel, but it's costing a fortune for it. And that's why I have to up all my hours in the truck, as do many others. And we may reach out to some of you for support with our legal. If we can't get the JCCF to take a portion of the $5 million they raised off our backs and send it to the escrow account of our legal representation of our counsel. It's all we want. You raised money off our backs, fine. Send half of it to our counsel, and then that counsel will be expanded to everybody else, and everybody's happy. But they're chazers. Chazer, right? I mentioned this before. Scarface, a pig that don't fly straight. That's what they are. And they better not continue doing that, because that's going to be just detrimental to them. Very, very brutal to what they have. The current board was established after the convoy of the Freedom Board. Yeah, they just took a bunch of, a small group of truckers or people that are loyal to Tamara for whatever reason, and just threw them on the board. And I don't know how Tamara and Chris are back on the board. Maybe they just elected them back. It's supposed to be done in an AGM, but 1 minute, because they all resigned. I have their resignation letters from the board, yet now they're back on the board. I don't get it. I don't understand what they're doing there. I don't want to project negative intent. Who knows what it is? But I don't really care. That's for them. I just want myself, Chad, Bridget, Chris, Jason, these 42 other truckers who've reached out to me. I just want everybody else to have representation and counsel, and not counsel that's going to sabotage it. Because if you look at the JCCF's record, this is what I was warned about during the convoy. They lose every case. It's just rage farming. Lose a case, fundraise around the case. Lose a case, fundraise around the case. And that's it. Anyways, okay. So I think we're done for today. I wanted this to be informative. I didn't want it to be an hour and 40 minutes long. I apologize, but I hope this sheds some light on some of the stuff and the tactics that are used by Big Con Canada Inc. Now you can learn to recognize it when you see somebody who jumps on stage who might be a little bit not careful with what they say and how they say it. That there's a reason that they do that. And, one of the other things that was in my book, and we're going to talk about this another day, there were a couple of MPs that were standing on the side of the road clapping for the trucker convoy. One was Zimmerman in British Columbia, for example. They don't do that unless they have party approval. And they don't do that unless the party thinks they're controlling the messages. Very important. Anyways, Mr. Snatch says, yeah, Bitcoin is a really sound investment. Yeah, somebody I know bought Bitcoin at 9 cents a Bitcoin, and now he's worth well into the hundreds of millions of dollars. But that was 10 years ago, right? Some of us, a lot of people I know bought around the $800 mark. So now it's at $33,000 Canadian, and this is mid-cycle. Well, at least it's at the tail end of the mid-cycle, and after the next halvening, that's probably when you're going to see the next, elevation in bottom level pricing. That's how Bitcoin always works. But I'm glad to help you with understand Bitcoin at any time. Sonia says it best when we shut down: peace, love, unity, and freedom. I love you, Sonia. Thank you very much for all your continued support and all your kind messaging. And I hope this was informative. And if you have any other questions, let me know. I will be back on the stream, I think, tomorrow, because I'm not going to be, I got to see. I got a whole bunch of stuff happening today. So I will let you know tomorrow. And let me know if you have any questions. And if you're in the Discord, please populate the Discord with as much information as possible. And we do need some moderators. So if you want to be a moderator in the Discord, then by all means, do not hesitate. I'd love to get you guys on board. All right, I got to run.